My name is Vinay. I am currently the Chief Partnership Distribution Officer at Generali, Vietnam. And I've been in Vietnam for about 2.5 years now. So I started my career after my masters in finance. Started my career as a relationship manager in Citibank in India. So I've sold insurance, I've sold equities, bonds, gold, pretty much most of the products that Citi bankers today sell, and obviously managing their portfolio. So I had a little bit of 2.5 years stint with banking, and from there I moved into insurance. I worked with a French insurer called AXA. I was there with them for about 11 years, across products, persistency, sales as well. And 2 years I've worked with Sun Life in India, and now for the last 2.5 years I've been with Generali in Vietnam. I think Vietnam is a more vibrant market. It's a high potential market, right? And we've seen it in terms of the investments that are coming into Vietnam, the kind of growth that we are showing in Vietnam, not just in banking, in insurance, but if you see the GDP numbers, if you see the way Vietnam is doing, I think there's a lot of potential, and that's what brought me in as well. I think that's the first big difference. I think the second big difference with Vietnam is that there is a lot more growth and a lot more potential left for Vietnam to kind of grow, and being a part of that journey or being a part of that growth story, whoever is a part of that growth story in Vietnam will benefit from it. I think the job opportunities, and especially for the younger generation, is only going to grow. As the economy grows, the demand for more people, the demand for skilled, unskilled, across the different sectors of, whether you talk of construction, consulting, banking, insurance, real estate, across industries, there's going to be need for people. And so from that perspective, that there is probably the best time, now in the next 10-15 years. Vietnam is pretty much, I would say, the rising sun. So I think Vietnam Bancassurance is pretty much at the cusp of what I would call an explosion, right? It's still not. Yes, you're right in saying that in the last 2 years we've seen a very big growth, but it's still not the biggest that it can be. There's still a lot more room to grow. Couple of reasons. I think one, overall the insurance penetration in Vietnam is quite low. Hardly about 2% of the GDP is contributed by insurance. If you see the developed markets like Europe or America, insurance typically contributes about 15, 18, 20% of the GDP. So that's the kind of gap that's there on insurance. Why bank assurance? So firstly, what is bank assurance? Bank assurance is basically, partnering with banks, insurance companies partnering with banks to sell insurance to customers of the bank. So it's bank plus insurance is what is called bank assurance. And why is that the future that going to grow in the way that we've seen it grow? Banks and the kind of reach that banks in Vietnam today have, and it's not just about the big cities like Ho Chi Minh City or Hanoi, but it's also about the really small provinces, the deep pockets of Vietnam. Banks are available everywhere. So the advantage is it gives, us insurers like us through banks an opportunity to expand and reach the customer at their house, rather than expect customers to come to the big cities to avail benefits of insurance. And that's why I feel bank assurance is going to actually explode in the next 3-5 years. I think I've had the good luck or opportunity to obviously interview and meet a lot of young and middle level people, a lot of whom I've hired in my own team. I see a lot of energy, right? And that's something that even we discuss when I discuss with some of my other peers in the leadership team. I think we discuss that I see a lot of energy. They're willing to work very hard. Unlike a lot of other countries, I see people want to grow. There is that hunger to succeed, hunger to buy that car or buy that house, for example. And I think that's something that I see as a big driving force of not just the middle age but even the young generation that is now coming into the workforce. I see that hunger, and that makes a very big difference in, and a very positive attitude to kind of bring into work, saying if I want to succeed, I have to ensure the company I work for should also succeed. So I think the first tip of wanting to be in bank assurance is that you need to be very good with relationships. Insurance is a long term. It's a relationship business, right? So your ability to speak, your ability to interact, create relationships becomes very very important, and maintain and nurture relationships with your clients. That becomes a very very important factor for someone wanting to work in insurance. The second one, which is also linked to the fact that insurance is a long-term business. It's not a product like a soap where I sell a soap and the transaction is over. Insurance is for the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, in some cases even 100 years, right? So servicing becomes very important. So it's not just about offering an insurance product to the consumer, but it's also about continuing to service the customer for his or her needs in the future. So relationship management skills, ability to service. Third one is to be fearless. I think the most important part of insurance, of any sales actually, is that you need, the more customers you meet or the more potential people you meet, the more successful you are, right? So you need to be fearless and approach everyone and every possible customer of the bank or customer on the streets. And that's the third key aspect that we look for. The fourth one I would probably add, but it's probably common to most of the businesses, is communication. You have to be very strong with your knowledge of insurance and then communicate it in a way which is very simple. Insurance can be a very technical, very difficult subject. Not many people understand. I think the key job that people in sales do is to make that very technical subject a very easy subject for any customer to understand in a simple and straightforward manner. So those would be the four main things that we would look for when we are hiring new sales force into our teams. I think on the personal front, I'd want to be fitter than I am right now. I think that's something that I want to do. I think on the work side, we do want to kind of reach out to more and more people. I think not just for Generali Vietnam, not just for the company that I work for or the business, but I think overall it seems like we're at, like I said, the cusp of doing something very big in Vietnam as a country, as an economy. And I think being a part of that success story is something 10 years, 15 years down the line, you can look back and say, I was part of the growth story, or the what we call the booming story of Vietnam. So I'd want to be here, help more customers, help clients, work with bank partners. So that would be my work related initiative. But I think, yeah, like I said, on the personal side, I want to have more time to go for a run or go for a swim or play some tennis.